What is the most famous you've ever been and how did it happen? I won the 5th grade bookmark contest in 5th grade. They put free copies of the bookmark on the desk in the library with my name on it. I peaked too soon. How many people win a 5th grade contest in 6th grade? I can't answer your question, but as I've said before, I was in 5th grade when I won the contest. Some friends and I were partying at a shitty Motel 6 on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon a long while back. The night before a big festival. A bunch of rockstar looking dudes got out and stretched and started smoking cigarettes. I drunkenly yelled at them to come party with us, and next thing I knew, 8 guys are piling out of the bus and headed up the stairs. They all go into my hotel room and we start taking shots and drinking beers when someone finally decides to ask what band they were with. It was some guys who at the time we'd never heard of, called Avenged Sevenfold. Super nice dudes. The singer called my brother on my cell phone just to say hi and let him know they were opening up for Korn the next day. My brother loved Korn. Anyway, that was cool. Also September 2016, I had a picture published in National Geographic. A TV weatherman did one of those visiting a local school segments at my school, so our whole class was on TV. Of course, the one time they show me on camera was when I was picking my nose. I recreated the SpaceX rocket landing in my friend's pool. Elon Musk called it cute. And I got a lot of unsolicited pool cleaning tips. I tried to build the world's largest domino pyramid. Failed spectacularly. And the video went viral. A Japanese TV station interviewed me about it. 2. Back when the sheer labia of "just do it" meme was popular, I used it as a cosplay at Anime Expo. I had a large green cardboard slab tied to my back for the green screen effect, and I spent days memorizing his speech. I spent about 10 hours that day repeating the speech endlessly and doing videos photo ops with people. The meme was already popular enough for people to be shouting it randomly in the hallways anyway. So it exploded even worse whenever I'd walk through. Eventually security was called on me because I was inciting riots of people shouting "just do it." And they were getting complaints of the noise triggering some people's panic attacks. It was an interesting 15 minutes of fame. Maybe there's been something else, but this is the most storyable. In the summer of 2012, the movie The Dark Knight Rises came out, and to celebrate I decided I'd have a creative twist on cosplay as Batman. I shaved the bat symbol into my chest. Pretty dang good logo shave job if you ask me. I posted the pic on social media. Went to the move. etc. Later the pic blew up with tons of friends and family sharing it all around. It got posted to a few of those crappy mid-internet history sites like iHumor or whatever, as well as a ton of people in my city seeing it. I got recognized at the grocery store and the gas station and a few other places as the Batman chest hair guy. What a legacy. Should have uploaded the picture originally, my B. Right when Pokemon Go came out, I hosted a lure party. Bear in mind, I'm an American living in Canada, so I had legal access to the game, iTunes account and all, a week before Canadians did. So I could do microtransactions at will, downtown in my city, and posted it on Reddit as an open invite. I didn't expect anything more than 5 people. No. Hundreds of people showed up. And so did Vice News. And so did the 2 local news networks. So that happened. Other than that, I refer to myself as a Q-list celebrity because of my weekly music radio program on a station in the same city. Someone got arrested for murder and named me and several other people to the police and a newspaper. They had no idea what he was doing it for or how he knew everyone, so everyone got interviewed as they expected us to be accomplices. That theory went out the window when they discovered I was 9. Someone was 2. And another guy was 87 in a wheelchair on oxygen and missing a leg. Turns out the guy just read names off something outside our Catholic school at the church and remembered some random names and just threw them out to mess with police. My name was on page 4 of our local paper in bold. I fell off a 150-foot cliff in 2012 and was the talk of my city, small city, for a while. Whenever I tell my story to people they always go, holy shit, that was you. I remember reading that. 2012? So your fame has plummeted since then? Harry Styles threw me his towel at a One Direction concert and every girl around me looked like they wanted to eat me alive. Thousands of beady eyes staring at me in contempt. It was terrifying, so I shoved it down my shirt to avoid any snatching potential cause those itches were ready to attack. I made it to the front page of Reddit from posting a picture of myself sitting in a chair looking rather dapper rather than in my wheelchair. It helped me with my insecurities about being physically disabled, and I'm actually going to be meeting up with people who offered to do a free photo shoot of me when I posted that here soon now that the weather is nicer. It was in high school when me and a group of friends decided to get morph suit, basically full body elastic suits. Even covers your face. We were basically like mimes going around our busy town never talking to not give away our identity and did dumb stuff. My favorite was when we had to cross the street and play leapfrog across the crosswalk until the timer was over. Even a local politician started to like us and use our popularity as a way for him to get a message across and get popularity. Everyone loved us and took pictures, but no one could ever figure out who we were. It was pretty great. Haha, one time all my friends start tweeting my name and using it as a hashtag. So then other followers that knew of me starting tweeting my name. Then random people started tweeting and retweeting the tweets saying things like UTF is philophobia etc. And then I was trending in my city lol. The husband was allergic to shellfish and one of the bar kitchen staff had typed no seafood or he'd die and left it on the bill for the customer to see. That sheet got so many votes. Edit, I'm at my girlfriend's and I can't upload links onto here on my phone. Apparently she's at a climax of Housewives of New York and I can't use her laptop. I was drumming at a Christmas in the Park show. At least 10,000 people there and broadcast to at least another 500,000. I did a fill and ducked up. Don't worry. As a fellow musician I bet at least 80% did not notice. I made some Lego stop motion videos for school projects in 7th grade. And my history teacher apparently enjoyed it so much he showed it to his friends. One of whom was an employee at an advertising company. In 8th grade, I was hired as a freelance worker to film 3 15-second commercials for a car dealership in Pennsylvania. Which I'm told then aired on local TV. I love that history teacher. Edit, adding link to a video of the commercials I put together. As per request. If you look at the rest of the channel, keep in mind some of those videos are quite old. So I apologize in advance if you see something mentally scarring. Back in November I hit a half-court shot at a Lakers game and won $35K. Did a live interview during the game on TV. The radio interview. Then another with a Lakers.com reporter. Next day I did a spot with a local news where I made a few more half-court shots. Took pictures with a few hundred people after the game since I got to keep the big check. This is one I almost used a throwaway for because it's embarrassing. Back when the first Harry Potter movies came out, Warner Brothers had a forum on their official movie site dedicated to HP discussion. I was a massive Harry Potter fan and instantly became highly active on the forums. We'd write fanfiction, thankfully lost to the annals of time. Discuss theories. Have fake Yule gonads. If I ever wondered at that time why I was unpopular in school, I don't wonder now. In any case, I was very well known on the forums. I'm a comedy writer now and was budding then, so my writing stood out in the fanfiction threads. About 6 months into my participation there, people began to impersonate me by creating usernames almost identical to mine. I had at least 3 imposters that were pervasive. All of whom did their damnedest to take me down. It was the early days of internet trolling. And literally was mostly people using my almost name to write shitty, childish comments. Hopefully I become famous in the future for my actual career. But for now, that's my legacy. If you pause an episode of WCW Monday Nitro from 1998, there's a few frames as the camera pans across the crowd before it cuts away. And for those few frames you can see little me and my family sitting in the crowd. 1 week before my high school graduation, when I was still only 18, I did my first ever triathlon, Kona Ironman 70.3, and I was the youngest athlete in the race. I made it in newspapers in Hawaii. My age and its significance was announced when I crossed the finish line. I went from being overweight and not able to jog half a mile without crying and throwing up to doing a 70-mile race in a climate completely different than my own. I live in Arizona, in about a year. Also, this was less work but probably about the same amount of fame. I've known the current Tempe City Councilman for a few years. We met while volunteering at the AZ Ironman. He started a running shirt company called Tempe Ice Apparel that makes shirts that keep your core temp down even in 115 degrees, and he asked me to model for it, and I'm on the website and Facebook page and Instagram. Last I checked I was in the profile for one of those. Everything kinda went really downhill after that race, but I had my moments. So that's a thing. Sophomore year in high school. The entire high school, 1000 plus, was in the auditorium for the talent show. The rhythm guitar player was out sick and my friend's older brother, a senior, asked me to fill in. I learned Highway to Hell in a couple of hours and we rocked it out during the program. When I started headbanging a little, the crowd went nuts. I never felt so alive. It was a high that lasted 4 hours afterward. People kept approaching me afterward about it that day. But everything was a blur. I called Martin Shkreli's cell number 40 times. This was before he really blew up, and he finally answered on FaceTime. Demanded my name. And blocked my number. I put on my resume that I'm hated by America's most hated man. When I was 16. Not the first time I had sex, but maybe the 4th time. Second girl I ever had sex with. She was friends with a lot of people. I guess you'd call her one of the popular girls. Sex was pretty good and she seemed to really enjoy it. Anyway, the next day I heard people laughing as I walked by, especially groups of girls. Didn't know why but got embarrassed and assumed this girl told everyone I sucked. Turns out it was the opposite. She told all her friends about how great my pen 15 was. I didn't even realize it was that big at the time. And being 16 years old in high school, this kind of gossip spread like wildfire. Within a week every girl knew. I became famous for my big dick basically. And the best part was all of a sudden all these girls would approach me by themselves or text me out of nowhere and stuff like that. I ended up having sex with like 8 girls the next 3 months. This continued pretty steadily until I graduated. Damn, I miss high school. Now I'm a lonely loser who will never be known for anything like that again. I had a video go viral about 10 years ago. I sold the rights to Break for $400 after someone stole from YouTube and uploaded it there. This was before monetizing was anything remotely like today. It was also on Best of the Net on G4 during its run. I was in a play in high school and played a character named Star Guy who was a charismatic superhero who could zap people with his star rod and make them like him. It was stupid. But pretty funny because that's basically the exact opposite of my personality. But like half the school saw it and started calling me Star Guy and I got a lot of attention for it. It was fun and lasted a couple weeks. I'm the 1984 under-10s video game champion of NSW. Australia's most populous state. Won prizes. Got in the paper. etc. I was 8. Unfortunately there was no under 10 national comp. There was supposed to be. But they changed the rules and had me play off again the 16 years old. Who won as he knew a game hack to get points and they allowed it. Sestlavi. I was signed to a record label for 3 years. Not really famous since I was just the bassist and we were dropped after only 2 albums due to poor record sales. My 15 minutes of fame came from taking a girl out on a date and having a complete stranger ask me for an autograph on a copy of our CD. I was at Warped Tour 1 year and, after watching them play their set, went over to a band's tent to buy merch and get a picture. I started talking with the lead singer after getting a picture and ended up walking around with him as him and a couple other band members went promoting their band. It was just normal conversation and yet I'll never forget it. I was interviewed on Much Music, Canada's MTV, years ago. And they played the clip often since I managed to make a joke. I was Baby of the Month for August 1995 in Alexandria, Egypt. I was featured on the public channel as well as mentioned on the radio. Neopets in like 2009. I was a decently known screener, someone who posts funny screenshot edits or drawings. I've had a few people freak out when I was posting on the forums. Some of my screenies are still online but they're very cringy. When I was 13 I was obsessed with Photoshop tags. After a couple years I started being extremely good for my age and I was made admin of a 10k active designers forum. They loved me but they never knew I was 15. Basically, I ran a huge forum designer forum being super young and I did a damn good job. I even had a workshop where I taught how to smudge properly and people freaked out over this. It was extremely fun times. Basketball league in school. I was on a crap team and wasn't great myself at anything except defense. One of the better players in the league had a pass to him. Turned towards me and took his shot. I rejected it straight out of court. They passed it into him. He tried to take the same shot. With the same result. The league nights had 4 games going on at the same time. The info about me rejecting him twice went around all the teams very quickly. It sucks when it's because no one expected anything good off you that it's news when you succeed. I won a Rubik's Cube competition in middle school. They had the final match on the school show and most of the school was watching I guess. Still got recognized as the Rubik's Cube guy in high school. Back when I was in my 4th year of university, I found out that my faculty referred to me as that guitar god. Apparently this had been happening since I started 1st year and showed up at a battle of the bands the university put on and, being in 1st year, made a bunch of older students extremely self-conscious of their playing. We didn't win unfortunately. I was famous in university and never knew it. In hindsight, I'm glad I didn't find this out until late in my 4th year. I probably wouldn't even practiced if I thought that I was the shit for 4 years. When I was 8, I won a McDonald's contest with 2 other kids to walk out on the pitch alongside players at the FIFA World Cup in Germany. With our country's national team being the Rafe Wiggum of football. Our nation made this a very big deal. We even had a follow-up full-page newspaper feature about us a good 8 years later. So, kinda slightly famous, if you ask me. I did a lip sync to a song from the Book of Mormon musical for a school talent show of sorts. Everyone was laughing, in a good way, and I felt great. I got top 3 but lost. Most likely since I was a senior and last year's winner usually hosts next time so they bumped me down a bit. Anyone I saw soon after was telling me I should have won. Few weeks later walking down a random road, a jogger asked if I was the guy from the talent show, a parent from school. After talking a bit, he said he'd go home and tell his kids he saw me. Note, I go to a K-12 school. In high school I was in a band and we played a bunch of house parties. One day I was at the mall with my bandmates and a group of Catholic schoolgirls came running up to us chanting one of our songs. Big big dig in my mama. It was about the singer's dad. Full stop. I made it in a local newspaper for swimming across a harbour on Christmas Day in England wearing a dress and a wig with my dad who dressed as a belly dancer. That's the best I got. I decided to make a video game. Recapturing Knights of the Old Republic. I've had articles written about me and the project. I still get interview requests and invitations to be on podcasts. We're still in development so respectfully decline most. I had an entire auditorium of my high school senior peers chanting my name. It was senior skit day. And those who couldn't find a reason to get out, that is, no car, were tucked into the auditorium for a school supervised open mic session. I told the staff I wanted to tell some risque jokes in stand-up format. But they denied me, citing that my jokes weren't school appropriate. I told them some cleaner jokes as compromise. And they agreed to let me up. I told a few jokes. got some laughs, and then explained I'm sorry if my routine sucks. But the school said my other one wasn't appropriate. Mind you, this is the same school that's got more knocked up teens than Planned Parenthood. A crowd of 17-18-year-olds erupted in laughter and applause in a very arthathapant sort of way. I started to tell my original routine and got in one part of a single joke before a coach wrestled the mic away from me and the admins threatened to suspend me. Overall, totally worth it. I was the lead singer of a band. We were invited to larger than we thought Battle of the Bands concert and ended up winning. It's not that I was all that famous, but it was weird walking around the hall later on and some people wanted some pictures with us and I even got a few girls' numbers. I never called though. I was incredibly nervous when it came to that kind of stuff. 3 years ago, I was one of the most famous people in the world because I got stuck inside a stone vag and needed 22 firefighters to get me out. Almost 2 years ago, on the 22nd of June, 2015, I was on a college foreign exchange program in Tübingen, Germany. We were at the university on the top of the hill, and they had a statue of a stone vag, or vulva, as they referred to it, sitting next to the microbiology building. My friends and I finished lunch early, so we decided to go to the statue for a photo op. They got in and out fine. But when it was my turn, I fell and wedged my leg into the bottom of the vag. My friends tried to lift me out, but to no avail. I was truly trapped. 30 minutes pass, and some kind German lady comes out asking if I need water. She then said something in German, which I later learned meant, should I call the fire department? And 10 minutes later, with my entire exchange student class surrounding me, 3 fire trucks pull up. A team of 6 of the 22 firefighters came up to me, laughed, put a strap around the back of my leg, and levered me out after I'd spent 45 minutes thinking they were going to have to destroy a multi-$100,000 piece of artwork or cut my ducking leg off. AMA. Figured it was time to break the silence. About 2 years ago, I started actually befriending people at my school and somehow it caught people from all different grades' attention. I had also started my YouTube channel and got 40k subs, but then my camera broke, and I became homeschooled. It's rather depressing tbh.